And welcome back to another edition of Running with James. I'm your host, James Wyatt, and I'm excited to be joining you again on this wonderful day. It's beautiful outside. It's beautiful in the room. Carlos, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Stop. Actually, can we just rewind a little bit?
Sure.
Remember last week?
Oh, my bad. You're right.
No, just
rewind it.
Rewind it.
Again.
All right, let's try.
Lauren, how are you doing today? You look lovely today, as usual, as per usual. How you feeling? If you're feeling as good as you look, you must be feeling amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah? You're amazing?
Sure.
Nice. Carlos.
I'm doing great.
Yeah?
Doing actually amazing.
Fresh as a daisy?
I wouldn't say fresh as a daisy.
I would agree. You're not fresh as a daisy. Neither one of you, actually.
No.
These clowns that had the audacity to not take a shower after their workout and come up in here.
I at least took a prison bath. Or as you like to call it,
No.
something else.
Nah, that was Carlos, not me. Carlos.
I just said it was called something else.
It's also referred to as.
Yes. So we won't go there.
Axe body spray. Psh, psh,
Yes.
psh, psh, just in case.
I did change shirts and hats.
Did you change shirts?
I did not.
So
I
I've
guess meal.
leveled
Not
up.
change shirts.
So
I just spritzed mine.
Did you spritz everything?
I took a little prison bath with a little washcloth, and then I got my deodorant and I was like, here. I put on my belly. I was like,
Yeah.
I had a dog lay on me. Does that count?
yeah.
Was it my dog or your dog?
No, my dog.
That's just going to mask the body odor from working out with the
Yeah,
dog.
You got to be
smell.
careful when you're mixing scents.
Okay, so yes. No, I think that's why my dog was all on top of me.
Oh, because
Okay. Yes.
Because Luna was going on.
Smelled Luna. Yes.
Yeah, I think it was Tuesday when I was at Texas Children's. They had one of their dogs there, right? Because they have those
Yes.
support animals.
Yes.
And so the dog was up on the stage and it was like, wanting me to pet it, and I was rubbing its ears and everything, and that dog
pet it?
fell in love with me and wouldn't leave me alone.
Was it the golden retriever?
It was one of the golden retrievers. They have two.
To pet it?
So, but it was not like the highlight of my year. It was a dog. But when I got home, Luna was very aware. She had her nose buried in like my leg, my back. She sniffed my butt a couple times. She's like, how dare you walk into this house with another dog's smell on you? She was not.
Can I have an intervention?
Sure.
I'd like to have an intervention.
For Luna?
Yes.
Yeah, I know.
This has got to stop.
It's got to
I
stop.
I love that dog. You know
Yeah.
me. I have a special relationship with
Yeah.
that dog.
Yeah.
You have
We
a very
chill.
special
We chill.
relationship.
We hang out. But
Cuddle.
each time I come back and she gets a haircut, she's been butchered.
She's butchered.
It looks better this time than the last one. At least it's even.
They did do a better job this
It's
time,
even.
and they did a better job with her head as
But
well.
It's big looking.
But it's like it makes, because her body's such, being that doodle poodle mix or whatever, it's such a small body,
She's very skinny.
and so you got to like shave it to the right length, and then the legs have to be a little poofier,
Yeah.
so that it looks right. But she looks like a straight up, like she's been in an internment camp. But on top of that, they apparently had a salon, so they did her hair.
So it was an internment camp where they gave her a perm.
Yes,
She-
exactly. It's a permanent internment camp.
She literally has like a Bob Ross hairstyle
Yes.
going on happening, the perfect Bob Ross. And then yesterday when y'all brought her in, they had that little bow like just kind of nestled into the middle of the puff. It wasn't like the whole thing was pulled in. It was just one little bow in the center of the puff.
Yeah, but you know what the thing is? Look at that. She looks so happy about it. She's like, I look good. I nailed this
me see
haircut.
it.
Look at it. She's like, I'm crushing this hairstyle. Like this haircut, I'm killing it. You see that?
That's-
She's like, I look good.
The top, this does not look super bad, but the body does not match.
It
the
doesn't.
rest.
The head looks she looks like a toothpick.
She does.
Or like a Q-tip.
Yes.
She's a
dirty
brown
Q-tip.
Q-tip. That's it.
That's a
that
cute.
got
dog.
it deep into an ear.
So was this the same?
No.
You went to a different place.
So we went to I think PetSmart or something, or one of the whatever the pet places,
Gotcha.
because we used to do the mobile place,
Cool.
and that's really expensive.
So expensive.
And they've done okay jobs the first few times, but the last time, I was like, no more.
But they got you. Remember? They
yeah.
Well, they said that your dog pooped twice or something.
Yeah, so they charged me an extra $20 the first time, and then they shaved her, didn't give her the right job, and charged us an extra $40 because they said she pooped twice. When was the last time you saw your dog poop twice in the same 2-hour time period?
Never.
Never.
I guess I don't understand why it takes 2 hours. Is that like, I mean, I know your dog's got more hair, but that seems like a really
It took
long
4
time.
hours at the PetSmart place.
Really?
But I think it's just because they're cycling dogs through.
Okay.
Right,
I guess
but-
because my dog's so short haired,
Yeah.
And he's small.
I mean, they're supposed to be like styling and profiling. You
Okay,
know, they're
well-
clipping the toenails and all that stuff too. I don't know.
It's a full mani-pedi, full spa.
Oh
day.
yeah, they're getting the spa treatment.
Okay.
That's why she comes back and she's all happy and she's so tired and exhausted because she's just been pampered all day.
I'm just saying, I'm putting my foot down. If the third time, 3 strikes, I'm
Yeah.
going to just YouTube it. I'm going to cut her myself.
Yeah, that's what I told. I was like,
I offered
I need
to do it.
I don't even know. Maybe I could probably do it.
If you get the shears, you get the right guard on it, you can do it.
Yeah. So I don't know. Leah said it was her fault. She said she gave them the wrong length. I was like, just show them a photo next time of what you want it to look like.
I mean, if you
But
go.
didn't that happen the
somewhere
first time, though? The
Well,
photo?
she showed them a photo and they said that she was matted. That's why they had to shave her. And I'm like, well, if she was matted, why didn't you just comb her? Because that's what we do. We comb her like 2 or 3 times a week. So her hair's not really. You see how soft she is?
Yeah.
If you're that soft, you're not matted.
No,
what
mat
I'm
is
saying?
like, it's like rough. And
Yeah.
You can't put your hands through it.
But they said it was matted. Here's what I think happened. He was cutting her hair, and then
messed up.
he messed up, and he's like, crap. And he tried to fix it, and he messed it up, and he just shaved her all off. And he's like, I'm definitely not getting a tip. So
So-
she must have pooped twice.
yeah.
That's what I think happened. What do you think? Does that sound about right?
I mean, that's very possible. I definitely think the matting sounded like far-fetched. I definitely think it sounds like he messed up and was trying to cover for messing up. I feel like if you go to a place that like has done any kind of poodle dog and you say I want the doodle cut, the doodle cut is a specific cut. It's kind of like getting a Bichon cut or something.
No,
They
we
know what
want
to do.
we want the teddy bear cut.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, there's a teddy bear cut, and it basically makes them look like a little teddy bear.
So I feel like if you go to a place and like just say teddy bear cut, they should not come back looking like
No, but I have
what she
other
looks
people
like.
that I know that like that same thing has happened. So it's almost like they try to do it and they mess up, and you're not in there watching them, you know. So there's like, you know, whatever. What are you gonna do? Put the hair back on?
So
How
it's
are y'all
It's
picking-
the dark side of the dog cutting industry.
It is.
They never talk about it.
They never talk about it. So I know there are people who are really good, but the people who are really good, you can't get them because they're booked
yeah.
because they're really good.
Yeah. If
You
you,
got to learn to do it yourself and be really good at it.
if you find someone good, don't let them go.
That's right. You don't. I mean, that's just like having a good barber.
Ah,
If you have a
true.
good barber, you don't let that barber go because they'll probably get booked. Or, I mean, if they're a really good barber and you go somewhere else, they're never going to let you come back because they're not going to let you live it down.
No.
They'll turn on you in a heartbeat. They don't play that mess.
It's been a long time since I've been to a barber.
me too.
So that's
What little hair I have now, I cut myself. So I miss having a fade, a real fade. I got like a Jake-legged fade.
it's been my last haircut. There, you know, like the sides shaved, and I
Yeah.
think I almost had, you know, did I have a surfer's cut? No, it was just kind of short. You know, high school I had like the surfer's cut to the side and
Uh-huh.
shaved sides, and then early on I knew writing was on the wall.
It's coming. It's
Baldness was
It's
coming.
coming.
Baldness was coming, and you know, I was like, let's just shave it off.
coming. Yeah. You committed early?
Yeah, I committed early.
Yeah.
I, you know, overhead lighting in an elevator, and I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
you maybe kind of living in denial for a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe just that's not that thin.
Combing over a
Yeah,
little bit.
come over. Then I overhead lighting, and the future was seen right there. And
Yeah.
Just made the call.
Yeah.
Cut it.
Oh.
That's a man that's confident in himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't know.
I'm
though.
still holding on to
Yeah.
hope. I'm still trying to hold on to it.
I've had a talk with Alex, my son.
Yeah.
Like, hey,
To
Let him
prepare
know what to
himself.
look for.
prepare yourself. Don't. I
Yeah.
mean, you don't really like combing your hair, so just don't get too attached. So he knows.
Yeah.
This is the look.
Yeah.
Oh. I'm sorry y'all go through that.
I appreciate that.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Thank you for
Thank you.
being sympathetic to our
Yeah,
cause.
thank you.
Welcome. You know,
Appreciate it.
I don't know what that's like.
No, it's not. It's the only kind of handicap that people can make fun of. I have a client that makes fun of that all the time.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
I wouldn't make fun of someone for having like early male pattern baldness. Like that's not a nice thing to make fun of. I'm sorry. That's what it is, isn't it? I really wasn't trying to make fun of it. Isn't that what it's called?
Technically, I guess.
Technically, I wasn't sure. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm for having.
My face is about how I've seen you do it. I've heard you do it. Why would you? That's just like a bold-faced lie.
But what? What I do? It was not intentional to be mean. I do not think it is nice to make fun of someone who does not have a very thick head of hair. How about that?
All right, so next time you do it, I'm gonna be like, hey, you remember that one time?
When have I made fun of your hair? Ever. Never is the answer to that. I've never made fun of someone's hair.
I feel like on this podcast, you've made statements about people who are losing their hair.
I don't think
Well,
so.
let's go to who we ran with, Laura. the other week, and she has been going through the podcast
ask
episode by
her.
episode. So if she hears any sort of
Let us
remarks by Lauren on James' hair,
Or not my hair in particular, just
or
anybody
any sort
losing
of
their hair.
yes, any
I don't
sort
think she would say something about mine just out of fear of reprisals.
Ah.
But she would say somebody else, like in my presence.
I mean, I'm really thinking hard. I really don't think I would, because that's something
Maybe you
I
haven't.
don't.
I mean, it doesn't matter to me. I don't really
Because
care.
I feel like that's something like that. That can be a really like sensitive subject. So I don't usually tend to.
I don't
poke at
feel like
things
people think that. Do you feel like people think that? Because I feel like that is that's one of those topics, like you said, that is like, it's on limits. Like there's no, like you could say whatever you want.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah.
Like you can't make fun of somebody that's overweight, right? You can't say anything about somebody, even if you're not making fun of them, if you're just addressing it out of fear of their health concerns, you can't say that because that's mean. If someone is late all the time, you can't talk about that because then that's like you're beating them up. You're like you're taking away something that is who they are, like literally one of their traits. You can't do that.
They're
Personality,
Personality.
or the what do you call it?
make the trait that makes them
Idiosyncrasy?
special.
Yeah,
Oh,
idiosyncrasy.
You're really struggling with that word today.
I am. I'm sorry.
That's
Please
what I'll
forgive
make
me.
fun of you for
You
not
should.
knowing that
knowing
word.
words in general. You should. But like
I don't think I've
men's
ever.
height and men's hair are both okay to talk about,
Yeah.
or the lack thereof, and both of those things are things men have no control over.
I don't think I ever intend to ever make fun of anything that is a.
You made fun of
That's okay.
Rocky's height on a constant basis. It's one of the reasons he left the show. He felt so demoralized because of how you treated him, his height.
You made fun of his height a lot. I don't think I made
No,
fun
no,
of his
no,
height
no,
that
no,
often.
no, 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 no. I made fun of the lack of height.
I don't. I think I might have taken a jab at Rocky once or twice, but I don't recall taking a lot of jabs.
You know, one of the great things about having a show where we've done
We can go back and look.
Well, we've done well over 100 episodes is we could always go back to those episodes and check it out.
We could, and we're more. If you can go find them, go for it. Go for it.
I have a problem with the word idiosyncrasy. She just has a problem with words in general.
I thought she was drunk.
Yeah. What's in that can?
Yeah.
What's in the LaCroix? What's in the LaCroix?
LaCroix.
Nothing good enough.
Oh my gosh.
Those are like, I'm not a fan of those.
It's
Me
okay.
either. It's just like water, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's so I've been reading up on like I'm trying to not drink a lot of them anymore because I have been reading that like you have to drink a lot of them for it to mess with you, but the carbonation period, and that goes for soda or anything, is obviously not great for your teeth or your gut. So I'm trying to not drink as many of them.
Yeah. So, like, when you say you're trying not to drink as many of them, do you mean like you're not going to drink as many of those as long as you're not, like, at the same level, you're not going to drink as much caffeine and coffee? Is like that's what like commitment level?
So I
are we
used to
talking?
drink one of these every day,
Okay.
and I don't do that anymore. I don't drink
Just
one
like once
day.
every other day or once a week or something.
Maybe like twice a week.
So where's your coffee thing and the caffeine?
I still
thing?
drink coffee in the mornings, but I'm doing really good on not drinking it after noon.
Noon. Okay.
That's my cutoff.
That's good. How's it been? Do you feel like it's been helping?
I can't tell, to be honest. I'm still anxious, but I think I'm starting to think that's just how everything's running right now until I can fix something else.
But I thought you were doing that to like help you with your sleep.
And sleep. I sometimes it feels like it's helping. Like
Yeah.
I feel like I'm getting a slightly better sleep, but then there's still some nights where I'm just like super restless and I'm super uncomfortable.
You know, I've been taking this thing that I've just started trying out, and it's like this triple magnesium
That's what I
supplement.
think I need to take.
So it's like basically magnesium's good for proper muscle function.
Mm-hmm.
Helps kind of stave off any type of cramps. Also helps with recovery.
Mm-hmm. It's good
But
for your
magnesium
cortisol.
also helps with like sleep.
Yeah.
So I feel like it helps.
I
Like,
take it.
Yeah.
I
you
take a
totally can
magnesium.
help it. I think
So-
that's my next step. I think I'm going to start trying
So it's
to
like a
take
mix of like
magnesium.
3 different types of magnesium. Like I think sulfate, calcium, and then I forgot what the other one was, but it's like 3 different mixes because they all kind of do a little something different for your body.
Very few of them are just like straight magnesium, like one thing. It's like 3 different things.
Yeah.
So I get all the ads for like the Moon Brew and the Rise and all like the.
Well, I would stay away from like sleep aids.
Yeah, so I've been trying to do more research because I'm like, I don't want to buy something just because the marketing's really good. I want
Yeah.
to buy something because it actually works.
No, I mean just it's just all it is like, it's just a micronutrient or whatever,
Yeah.
right? So, like it's not it's not like taking no dose or whatever the opposite of no dose is. But
Yeah, because I know all about no-dos.
I would stay away from like any type of like actual sleep aids, just because I feel like they make you feel hungover.
I've never tried one.
And they don't actually help you with good quality sleep.
You're talking like Tylenol PM or something.
Yeah,
like
whatever
that?
whatever people use to like help them go to sleep. Right?
Yeah.
'Cause a lot of people take sleep aids,
Yeah.
and I feel like they become dependent upon them.
Would you consider what's the other supplement?
Melatonin.
Melatonin. Would you
yeah.
consider that?
I don't know. I think you're probably better off maybe eat a banana or something like that. Something that has melatonin in it.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know if it'd be bad, but I think it's just like the sleep aids. I think some people take too much of it,
okay.
and then it turns it from being like a supplement that you take that kind of just helps make sure you're getting enough of what your body needs into becoming like performance enhancing. I don't know.
like a 6 milligram of melatonin, because the magnesium I take has melatonin in it. So, but it's just like 1 gram or 2 grams.
Okay.
Of melatonin or whatever.
So I think if you're just taking like as a supplement
yeah.
to make sure you're getting what your body is supposed to get or what it needs, that's one thing. But I think some people like they take like those huge doses of it to help them sleep, and then
I've tried the
whatever.
huge doses just before, just didn't know, and I've had really crazy nightmares or dreams.
Really?
Yes, like vivid, like where, like wake up, like arms jutting in the air. So I was
wow.
like, yeah. So
Really?
yes, like
That's crazy.
Yeah, so I kind of quit taking it, but I take this brand like it's combined for sleep kind of deal.
Okay.
And I like it. It has the what's the other L-theanine, or I can't remember the. It's I'd have to look it up, but it's just like 3 different things.
Okay.
So, but it's low dose.
Okay.
So it helps.
Glutamine? L-glutamine?
No, it's
Tyrene? Taurine?
I think that's it.
Taurine?
Yeah,
It's Taurine.
I think so.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think there's nothing bad. Like, I think I was talking to one of our other coaches, and she had stole my my shaker from the gym. She thought it was hers, so she took it home, and she sent me a message. She's like, I took a shaker that didn't belong to me, and I think it might be yours. And I was like, well, it was mine, so just make sure you wash it, bring it back with pre-workout and ice, and we'll call it even. And she's like, well, do you want me to give you my my homemade pre-workout? And when she said that, I was thinking like, I don't know, she's putting like some coffee and like bananas and maple syrup together and making like a concoction. But like she's got all these individual things. Like
I was say I'm picturing some. What's the guy who makes the crystal?
Breaking Bad,
Breaking Bad. What's his name?
Heisenberg.
the meth guy.
Yeah.
Oh no, it wasn't that bad.
Okay.
But she had like all her individual things. So she had all the aminos. She had like 3 or 4, bottles of amino acids. She had like I guess like maybe a caffeine thing. And then she had like what was it? She had like an electrolyte drink. So it was literally like 8 different things that she had stacked up. That's what she mixes to go into her pre-workout.
I already know what coach this is.
And I was like, dang. I was like, now I know why you're so jacked.
Wow.
It's like you're over here taking PEDs or whatever. And she's like, yeah, my husband looked up what the most popular da-da-da and what doses or I guess measurements they use for each thing. So I'm just making my own. I was like, okay, that seems like a lot of work.
That is a little, yeah.
Yeah,
quite a bit
you
of
have to
work,
get real
so.
specific.
And then she showed me another picture which had like creatine and then something else in it. And she's like, and then I take this sometimes when I remember.
Does this particular coach also happen to be very, very good with like spreadsheets and stuff? Is this
Probably.
that coach?
I wouldn't put it past her to be good with spreadsheets. She's probably good with everything. She's very good
I think
at
I
everything
know.
she
I'm
does.
pretty sure I know what coach it is.
She's one of my favorites.
Okay, I know
wow.
what coach it is.
She's one of my faves.
That's going to
It's always a joy and a privilege. Most of y'all, when y'all are around, is a joy and a privilege.
Oh, that's
but I always
awesome.
get like a little happy when I see that person.
Oh.
Like just because they don't get to come around as much.
Okay.
So it's always like a joy. So it's like having a friend that you don't get to see as much as you want, and then they show up. So it encourages you.
She's very like no nonsense. She likes to like get to work and like keep things kind of organized and flowing.
Yeah, probably, maybe a little bit. So I'm trying to think. Yeah, I guess.
I'm just going to say, if Gabby's listening, she's going to be a little upset.
No, I
She
like
is-
Gabby too.
She is.
But Gabby's nothing like any of those things.
No, I know. I definitely know she's
I'm
not.
saying.
She is not measuring out stuff for the pre-workout. But
No.
you said she proclaims you're her favorite.
She does. She does. And she's on the list for sure.
Okay.
She's on the list.
That's
See, I don't have like a favorite. because I love you all equally.
But there is a totem pole.
No, there's not a totem pole.
I bet there's a totem.
There's a level of annoyance that I have, and basically what happens is the lower you are on the level of annoyance, the higher you are on the level of what you would consider my favorite.
I'm gonna take a stab at organizing this totem pole real quick because I believe it is a totem pole.
Do you really want to do that?
I know where I stand.
Where do you stand?
Right down here.
That's.
I believe it is. I believe, and that's
So
not a
explain
hit
what
to
you're.
me.
What are you
That's
explaining?
Not a hit to me.
No. What are you explaining?
Your coaches ranked in like the order. That
Oh,
you
so
enjoy.
coaches. We're being very specific to coaches, not people.
Only. No, coaches.
Okay.
Coaches.
Okay.
Yeah. Jamie.
Okay.
Tommy.
You think she's at the top?
I think Jamie's at the
You
top.
think Tommy's second?
I do think Tommy's second. I know he's your boy.
Okay.
But I do think Jamie's at the top just because she's super organized. When she comes in ready to work.
Okay.
And she is like just ready to go.
Okay.
So, and you're not on this totem pole because obviously this is your
Obviously,
pole.
that makes sense. Yeah.
So it's Jamie, Tommy,
Yep.
and then I'm gonna put Carlos
Okay.
because he's been bringing in more people to BC,
Okay.
and then I'm gonna put. I'm trying to figure out if I want to put Gabby or I'm gonna go ahead.
Oh,
and
she's
put
got
Gabby.
herself in a pickle now.
Yeah.
Gabby,
Yeah.
no, Lori, me.
Wow. If Gabby's pretty low on that list.
Mm-hmm.
But I will. So it's
That's her list, Gabby. Just
That
so
is
you know.
my-
that is Lauren.
That is my list, and I put that again because Jamie's Jamie. She's like her own breed. But
Okay.
Tommy's your boy.
Okay.
Tommy's Tommy, Jamie's Jamie.
Yep.
Okay.
And then, like I said, Carlos has like been bringing in like all the new people.
Mm-hmm,
Carlos has like been hyping things up. Carlos is bringing a lot to the BC table.
Okay.
And then we got our other three coaches.
Have you ever seen that movie? What was it called? Iron Claw?
yes, with the
No.
ranking system of the sons.
And he was sitting at the table and he's like, listen, boys, right now, so-and-so's my favorite. But that's not tried and true. That's not in the wool. Anybody can move up or down
I agree.
in
I'm
the
sure they can.
listings, right? And I mean, that's cold-blooded to tell your sons that, to have that kind of competition. But as far as coaches are concerned,
It's all fair game.
There's also like an employee-employer type relationship going there as well, to
Yeah.
an extent, right? And so, like, I'm really more about performance than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, do you want to hear the list? Do you think you can handle the list?
I mean, I already put myself at the bottom. I can only be at the bottom. That's the worst it can be.
So I've got multiple lists.
Oh, multiple.
So I've got a list of like
I assume I'm at the bottom.
who I'm like most excited about, and who I feel like is doing like the level of job,
You can't hate her.
good job, and then I have a list of like who I enjoy spending more time with.
Yeah, you can't-
And then I have a list for who I would probably, I guess maybe the way we put it, like I care about the most. Those are three different lists.
I feel like this
Yeah.
all should be on the Patreon, actually. now
You know what I'm
that I think
saying? So that's three separate lists.
Yeah.
And the order may be completely different.
I have a strong feeling I know where I rank on most of those lists, but I'm also my own worst critic.
Where would you put yourself on all three of those lists?
Bottom.
On every one of them.
Bottom.
That's sad, Lauren.
I always put hey, you be excited when things go in a more positive way, but you're not shocked by anything.
Okay.
Then I would go in the middle then.
You feel like you'd be in the middle?
No,
of all
I'm
those
saying
lists?
for her, if she has that attitude, she should put herself
Be in the middle. That way
Yes.
you're never disappointed.
Yeah.
You're always right
Can't-
where you need to
Can't
be.
be disappointed, but I can be pleasantly
You can
surprised.
average it out. That's good.
Oh, see, no, I still say bottom safer.
You gotta think more of yourself, Lauren. You gotta think
We
more
love
of
you.
yourself.
You're on the
Yeah.
top of my list,
As
Lauren.
much
No,
as
I also don't believe that, but thank you so much.
as much as a hard time you feel like I give you, okay, but yet I still like have you around.
still love
spend
me.
so much time. You should think you're the favorite.
I don't think I'm a favorite.
You should think that. That's what you should think. Because if someone's willing to put up with as much as you say I complain about, I must really, really like you. So that means you're like top of the list.
And I'm kind of shocked you said that about me because I work out with you. If I didn't like you,
do work
I
out
wouldn't
with
work
me.
out with you.
Yeah,
I would not
don't
work
hang out with people that I don't.
I would not work out with someone I don't like.
enjoy
That's
spending time with.
100%.
I'm
you
just, like I said, pleasantly surprised. Don't
You got to
be
think better of
disappointed.
yourself, Lauren, because we do.
I appreciate that.
We
do.
love you.
I appreciate that.
But you are definitely not on the top list for.
I didn't
the,
think
the,
see,
the
can't be
coach is
disappointed.
performing the best
be
because Carlos.
disappointed.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
Carlos would probably be
Carlos
top.
is right now. Carlos is like
That's
he's,
not shocking
he's the
at all.
standard of
That's
which
what-
I want us all to get to.
I
That
would've-
includes me. I want to be the kind of coach Carlos is. I'm not going to put up people's stuff,
I totally agree.
but
Yeah.
I would like to think that someday maybe I will.
Hey, I am trying. You know what? In this day and time, I don't know if you guys have gotten any sort of service work, a plumber. It's been crappy. A lot of
yes.
service work you get these days is crappy.
It is.
And
So frustrating.
Pastor the other week, or maybe a month ago, was talking about Apple. They don't need to advertise.
No.
It's just they're word of mouth people. So I'm trying to deliver a service up to this standard. If
Yeah.
it's doing something the other guy won't do, I'll do it.
That's a good way
You
to
know,
think
if
about it.
it's, kids climbing on top of me doing push-ups, I'll do it.
Whatever it takes.
So whatever it takes. So I'm,
you know
Well,
what?
bouncing your baby on one leg while you do lunges, I'll do it.
I'll do it.
One of the things I've learned is, marketing works. 100% marketing works. Marketing costs money, but there's a reason why companies spend millions of dollars on marketing is because it works, But nothing is better at helping build your brand and your business than a word of mouth.
Oh, 100%.
Like it's free, number one, usually. But then secondly, there is no better testament of how good your service or product is than someone who's tried it telling you how good it was and trying to convince you. They have no skin in the game.
Yeah.
It's not their product. So if they try to convince you how great it is, that must mean it's a pretty good product.
100%.
But the only way I feel like you get that is if you have not only have an amazing product, but if we're in the service industry. That's what we are in.
Yeah.
And so the only way people are going to do that is if the service is impeccable and the results are there.
Yeah.
So that's what BC Fitness has been built on from the very beginning, has been trying to provide an impeccable service, going above and beyond where we care about our athletes, and then taking it to the next level where we actually give our athletes results.
In the name, BC, Building Champions.
Building champions. That's what it's
That's it.
about. So that's why I say that we all aspire to be like Carlos because he goes that extra mile. He and it's obvious that his athletes appreciate that because
They keep bringing friends.
they keep bringing
Yeah.
friends or they write a review. They listen to podcast episodes he's on. So all of those things play into the proof is in the pudding, right?
There you go.
That it's true.
In the ranking system.
And it definitely will help the ranking system.
Perfect. That's
Right? It helps the ranking system. Top dog, Carlos. That's why we call him Don Carlito. Right?
The dog.
So, and the ones I love spending time with the most, I'm not going to tell you because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
Oh, that would.
But definitely who I love the most is Lauren. So if we're talking those lists, Lauren's
See,
at top one of those lists.
Why you squint your eyes? You should be happy.
I do.
If he said that about me, I might do a cartwheel.
He might.
But
Yep. But I love you all
so
because God has commanded me to.
He had told me I had to.
Yeah, Jesus said I had to. But I love you a lot, Lauren. You
Thank
mean a
you.
lot to me. You're very special to
I
me, Lauren.
appreciate it. I appreciate
So-
that.
So one day I think I'll convince you.
I think so. Maybe. I just,
I'm real stubborn.
I'll be on my deathbed and I'll be holding on to life. Lauren, do you believe me now? And she'd be like, James, I don't know. Could you say it one more time, please? Come closer. No.
yeah.
My last breath.
Well, no, you'll just be utter it out, and then she'll be like, Lauren, what was James' last words? He said he loved me, but I don't believe him.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, he was
I'm not sure
in
I
a lot of
believe
pain
it.
at the time.
yeah, I think
It was the drug.
It was
Yeah,
the drug.
He was hopped up on Mountain Dew. I don't
Yes.
know. So
One day you'll break through.
I think so. So I think last week somebody was asking me about the, we were actually on the run on Tuesday. We were kind of talking about our podcast last week and, about, the extra training you put in. And, they were kind of talking about all the races they're going to be doing coming up in September, October, November. So they got
Was it a full schedule?
They got a full schedule. Once September hits, they're going full tilt boogie. And so, we were kind of getting into, what is it going to take, right? So right now you think about the races you're going to do. And I always say this, and I mean it 100%, is that I enjoy the training.
Yep.
And I think the training is more important necessarily than the events are. But I think a lot of times people will take these breaks or they'll chill out. And we kind of mentioned that a little bit last week when there's nothing immediate coming up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so when you train like you are about to race, that's usually we see it.
Always be kind of ready to go.
We see it all the time is that people tend to train their hardest
3 months before.
or really
A month.
The month
a week
before.
before,
Yeah.
2-3 weeks before, right?
Yes.
I got to
So,
do
like-
a sim the week of my event.
Right.
Like
So
get
those
James-
last
Yes.
2 weeks, there's no better motivation because people are like, oh my God, time's running out.
Yeah.
But if you're training throughout the year as if you are got a race coming up. And so there's actually literally something we call that's called periodization training. Are you familiar with periodization training?
Yes. We've
Yeah.
talked about it
So
before.
tell us what periodization training is, Lauren.
Carlos, tell us what periodization.
Periodization training is, basically breaking up your training in blocks and then increasing each block.
Okay.
Or through a increase of like overload, whether it's just running miles and then periodizing it. That word is, like we do 4-week training blocks. So we'll increase, how James, you told it, introduce the workout, perform the workout second week, perfect the workout third week, and then the fourth week you go back to original week as whatever that stimulus is of mileage, weights, and you kind of deload, but let the body adapt to that kind of stimulus.
Yeah.
Then you start back your next 4-week training block. We do 4-week training blocks here, so that your next 4 weeks you don't start at that deload. You go back to your third week, whatever that stimulus with mileage. Say you peaked out at 30 miles, you'll go back to that 30 miles at that week 1, and then you build from there. So you're letting your body adapt to that stimulus, and then not just trying to build without any sort of break, because the body will break down.
Yeah. So 2 parts of that is, number 1, you're doing periodization, right? So you're doing something for a certain period of time, and you're doing progressive overload. So you're overloading the muscle by progressing, 10% each week, whether it's weight, volume, whatever. And then you do the recovery, so that you, like you said, it helps prevent injury, kind of helps you not get too fatigued and basically plateau. And so I think it also gives you a little bit of a mental break.
Yeah.
From just load. And so those 2 together, the progressive overload and the periodization, I think go so well hand in hand. And so when we are preparing for a race, usually what we'll do is, because we do different types of events.
Yep.
Right? We do running events from 5K to marathon. We do obstacle course races.
Yep.
So we're talking trail races. You're talking, body weight movements. We do high rocks, obviously, which is weight, higher
running.
intensity movements, right? So we're doing a myriad of different things. And the training, even though there may be some crossover within the training, there's still some very specific things you need to do to get better at each one of those things. And so as part of that periodization, we're going to do in each one of those blocks you're talking about very specific things for whatever's coming up next, right?
Yes.
So like the closer we get to the event, we always talk about this, we're building this pyramid. And so the closer we get to the peak or the top of the pyramid, the more goal-specific activities we're going to do, right? So the next event you have coming up is what?
I think
The DECA, or is it the half?
DECA.
The DECA, and that's in September?
September.
Okay. So as we're getting ready for that, right? So it's when? September what?
I think the 14th.
And then when's the half?
October 26th.
Okay, so about a month later.
Yes.
Okay. So as part of that periodization, the thing you're going to focus on first and foremost is what?
Right now, I am starting with a block of strength.
Okay. So you're getting ready for DECA.
Yep. So building some strength. Just kind of more general, just overall strength. Kind of getting back to the basics. I wouldn't say as focused in DECA. I am just kind of, I think, like today, me and Lauren's workout was really, DECA, there's no sleds. We pushed heavy sleds. We did, the heavy bags. So just trying to build like a good base of strength back up.
Okay.
So that's kind of my focus here this next 4 weeks.
Okay.
And then slowly build my mileage back up as well.
Okay. So ultimately, like when I think of this, what I'm thinking about is, so you definitely for DECA, you're going to need a foundation of strength, right? And then conditioning.
Yep.
Correct. And which one are you doing?
The FIT, which is a 5K of running.
So high intensity, short period of time, maximum effort.
Yes.
Okay. So I would think then, as part of what it sounds like you're doing, as part of that periodization, is you're going to do higher intensity, shorter durations. Maybe you start out like super heavy now or heavier to build that strength. And then the closer you get to, say, September 14th, you might start doing more of the movements.
Yes.
Specific.
I'm mixing in like very short. Like yesterday, me and one of my clients, Bianca, worked out. And we did like a little 10-minute conditioning finisher. We put the assault bike in there, which is one of the stations on there. So kind of a little bit more high intensity, but short. So it wasn't a complete killer, but just mix that in there. So just going short burst on that bike for calories.
Okay. So, but then the other thing you mentioned was volume, right?
Yes.
Running volume.
Yes.
Okay. So understanding how you build volume with the 10% rule and everything else. Well, if you're going to run a half in October 24th, 25th or whatever, right? Yep. Well, you know that you have to start preparing for that now.
Yes.
You can't wait until September. So even though you're starting, your training and it's more focused on building strength, it's more focused on like kind of heading toward a DECA event, you still have to keep on the back burner and in your back of your mind, I have to prep for this half marathon.
100%.
Right? And so once the DECA's done, right? Okay, now your focus can shift and now you can go full on into your half marathon training, which kind of should play into your high rocks training that you're going to be doing in November, or for the race you're going to do in November.
Yes.
Right? So where all of these things, like we kind of mentioned earlier, all of these things kind of have crossover. Okay. But like say 6 weeks out, 8 weeks out, 4 weeks out, you're going to really hyper focus your movements, your intensity, whatever training on the event you're going to do.
Yes.
Right. And then ultimately, I think the smartest thing to do is you plan out what those events are going to be.
Yeah.
So in other words, I'm going to do the high rocks in November. I'm going to do the DECA in September. And then you kind of put them in order of importance.
Yeah.
No, I was just about to say that because
for it.
High Rocks is the A race.
Okay.
So I'm not going to be as DECA specific.
Okay.
I'm going to be kind of like High Rocks is the race I love, and DECA I like, but it's not really my A race. I'm going to kind of consider that like a tune up. Definitely going to compete, give my best, but it's not going to be 100%. I'm just going to, not do any wall balls for that month. I'm going to, in the back of my mind, everything's still going to be focused for the High Rocks.
Right.
And I think the half marathon running is going to lead right into that as well.
And it should.
Yeah.
Right. So how you plan those out can help set you up for whatever right. So like when you're planning to do like a marathon or something like that, well, you might put in like a 10K and a half marathon. Even though the focus is on the full marathon, you put in some shorter distance tune-up races to kind of test your fitness, practice your race strategy, see where you're at. Am I on pace or am I on the way to where I want to be able to hit my goal for my full marathon?
Yeah.
And so you put these like markers along the path of your training progression. So you see, okay, am I doing the progressive overload properly? Am I doing the periodization properly? Do I need to adjust something? Do I need to add more volume? Do I need to add more intensity? Because all of those things will dictate what your overall performance is.
I think, this is probably a couple years back. Didn't you do like a half marathon in preparation of your full marathon? Like you just wanted to run half, or was it a full marathon? You just did like half of it at your race pace?
Yes.
To kind of build. I remember you doing something just kind of that same. It was just a tune up to get to the actual race.
Right. So what I did was, I had a workout. I was running up to like, I think I was at that time, I was like 20-mile long run or something like that. And my wife was going to run the full marathon.
Yes.
And so, she wanted me to run it with her. But I was like, well, why don't I do this? I will run the first half at a certain pace, and then I'll wait for you to catch up, and then we'll run the last, and I'll push you at the last part, right? So my goal was basically, all right, I want to run this half marathon and try to get a PR, run this pace based off of what I want to try to do for my full to see where my fitness is, and then I'll just finish my long run out for the day.
Yeah.
Right. And so that was what my goal was. And so that's exactly what I did. So I didn't want to do a full marathon because it takes so long to recover from that kind of an effort. And I think my full marathon was I think it was in March and that was January. So we're talking like 2.5 months or something like that, almost 3 months away, but I think it was like 8 weeks, 8 or 9 weeks away. So that's kind of close with tapering and all the other stuff. So I didn't really want to run a full marathon at even a halfway hard effort.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that wouldn't have set me up to be successful, right? So I treated it like it was a workout.
Yeah.
And so I think you can set up races like that, right? I tell like a lot of times clients will come in and they'll be like, okay, so I want to run a half marathon and I want to be able to do it in under 2 hours. Okay. And then all of a sudden they're like, okay, I'm going to do a 5K here. I'm going to do 2 10Ks and a partridge in a pear tree, like all through December. And I'm like, okay, let's calm down. All right. Let's not we're trying to set ourselves up for success. So, all right, well, let's go do 1 10K.
Yeah.
We won't taper for it. We'll treat it like it's your right. You'll do your long run. And then instead of trying to go out and PR your 10K, let's go out. Let's run the 10K at whatever your half marathon goal pace is. Right. So let's see if you can run the 10K at that 9:07 pace. And then when you're done, finish your long run out, right? And let's see how you feel. So that could be a good kind of practice in a race environment because I guarantee if you're running a 10K with a bunch of people, a 9:07 pace is not going to feel very fast.
Yeah.
So what you're doing is you're practicing disciplining yourself, being consistent, steady, practicing your fueling. And then when you get done, you can see, okay, how hard was that for me? Was I able to complete it without any kind of issues? What did my heart rate look like? How was I able to recover the last, few miles of that race? And so it gives you like a good determiner, like, am I ready to do this half marathon in another 4 to 6 weeks?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Just kind of those little things, like unless you've done a lot of races, pacing's not that easy.
It's not.
No.
It's you tell someone to do negative splits, start off slow, and then I've heard you say it a million times. Everyone feels good at the start of the race.
Everybody
Yeah.
does, man.
Everyone,
Even people who haven't trained properly feel good.
Yeah.
Uh,
You're amped. Everyone around you's amped, so you're feeding off the energy. So it's real easy to feel like you're the top of your game.
And probably, I would say, over half of those people at the race probably have no formal training as far as they're just going out there and running. And so they're going to go out like, it's, Black Friday. They're, the doors have been open. They're running, that door's open.
TV.
Yes, they are running to get that $100, 70-inch TV, and they're out the gates. And then, you'll see, they come that first mile, they PR'd that first mile. Then after that, it's slower and slower. Just 7 minute, 8 minute, 9 minute is just a slow death.
Yeah.
Going to that higher pace. So
well, what I noticed, and I think, I don't know. So like in training, right? If you're a coach, there should be a rhyme to the reason.
Yeah.
Right? Or reason to the rhyme, whatever. A rhythm to whatever it is you're doing. Right? You should be deliberate about what you do. So like, I think Sunday is a good example of this. So on Sundays, we do our track, the High Rocks track workout, and Sunday Fun Day. And so I feel like sometimes people show up, and maybe this is just because this is what they're used to with other gyms or coaches, but people show up like we're randomly pulling things out of our butt. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like there's no reason behind it. It's just like, this seems like this will be a hard workout today. And I don't think they ever pay attention to like the flow and the progression of what we do. And everything has a flow and a progression to it. There's always building upon. And I am me personally, just because maybe this is just my person. I am definitely a person of, order. So like if I have a workout, and this isn't how workouts have to be, but you can probably figure out what my workouts are going to be by the first round for the most part.
Oh, I mean, I've been, training. I think I told someone, I think I've been you as my coach for, I got to be at least 7 years now. I think about 18 or 19. So it's, looking 7, 8 years. And like you said, I know the workouts, you'll that first initial workout, but I usually, sometimes you progress it differently. You might be like, okay, less rest or weight. But once you do that first progression, that
you can kind of get that there's going to be what the rhythm might be.
Oh, you know, there's something coming.
There's numbers.
Yes.
Like there's going to be some kind of even numbers, multiples of 12 or multiples of 5 or, something like that. And so like right now the goal is, and I knew this was going to happen, right? Just because I know how people are when it comes to like running. But the goal was we're going to put people in groups. Okay. We're going to pace each other and we're going to try to push each other, but we also want to show discipline and work on being consistent in our pacing. And I knew what was going to happen. They were going to get into a herd of buffalo and they were going to take off. And then as the workout progressed, they were going to slow down.
Let's say you saw people like falling back into other groups. People who were like starting at the front of the pack were slowly like not just back the pack. They were like back the pack.
So, and you'll have like a 9-minute pace. You got a 9:05. You got a 8:38.
And this is for 400s. So
400.
They should be very tight.
Very close and tight.
Close
right?
Group.
And so the goal of this was that I know you're going to be hyped and you're going to be excited being in the group. It's supposed to be fast, quote unquote, because it is 400 meters. So your tendency or your first reaction is to go out fast. But the point is to learn how to be disciplined so that you can run consistently 10, 12, however many laps we're doing of those 400 meters and not be all over the map. And so what you're learning and what you're teaching yourself is, yes, to run hard and push even when you're maybe a little in discomfort, but also how to hold yourself back and be disciplined and accomplish the mission. Yeah. So many people, you give them a goal and they don't, you give them a target to hit and they go for the target and they far exceed the target in the beginning, but then they fail the target the last 3 or 4 reps. And then you ask them, how did it go? Oh, it went great. I hit my pace. I'm like, oh, great. That's awesome. So what were your paces like? So if you hit the pace, you were at, let's say the goal was to run a 9-minute pace, right? Oh yeah, man. I think I ran like a 8:38. He's like, dude, that's awesome. Let's look at your laps. And then they bring it up and you look at it and like the first one was like 9:05. And then the next one was like 8:38. And then it was 9:14 and then 9:35 and then 10 and then 10:15. So they progressively slowed down because they blew up. But all they remember
is that one
that fast one
was at 8:38.
I can run it.
Or because they're probably not keeping a lap time, they're running and they take off and they look down at their watch and their watch says they're running an 8:48 or a 9-minute pace for the first 100 meters. And then they keep running, but then they slow way down on the back half.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of blew up their lap, right? And so, learning how to be consistent in your pacing will make a big difference in how you race. And so when you are racing like that, I tell you right now, like every 5 seconds makes a huge difference. So I think it's super important to learn that discipline, and you do that during your periodization and your progression period. And so if you don't discipline yourself during, the first 2 to 3 weeks of that progression or during that periodization, then I think, honestly, in my personal opinion, you've not wasted your time, but you've not accomplished the training goal.
Yes.
Right. And so where it's not wasted time, because any activity is great, anything's better than nothing. Right. But I think more than anything is learning through the period, from week to week, through the training block, learning this is the mission. Let's accomplish that mission before we move on to the next mission.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm going through that exact thing with a client. We're doing tempo runs right now.
Okay.
Introducing tempo runs. We did 15 minutes. Felt the pace. I was like, okay, you held it, did great. They were kind of like, maybe I should go faster. I was like, tempo runs get real in that 20-minute, 25-minute.
So real.
That is, and the difference between a 20-minute and 25, you wouldn't think that is like 20-minute I've hit before and be like, okay, that's not too bad. 25-minute, I've been like holding on for my life.
Yeah.
That last 5 minutes really
praying to Jesus, looking at, okay, how much time do I have left? 4:32. Okay, how much do I have? 4:12 left. You're looking, it's just,
you've been going for 5 minutes, but you've only been going
and
for 30.
you like I can't tell how many of those tempo runs you've programmed for me where I am just like, all right, you got to want it.
Yeah.
That last 5 minutes you have to want, because it is hurting. Yes, it hurts. So that's just like the 10-minute or the 15-minute, the start of it. It's this is easy. I got this. I'm fast. And then the last week of the block, that's where it really hurts.
And that's a perfect workout right there to use as an example, because if you don't do it the way it's programmed the first week, well, you're not only going to struggle, but you're probably going to fail week 2 or week 3. And so many people are like, oh yeah, I got the first one, I nailed it. And then something happened, they didn't do the second week. And then they try to jump to the third week. And then all of a sudden they fail miserably. And I'm like, well, it's because you didn't do the progression. So, the progression for me, I feel like is a big part of the periodization, because if you don't progress, and we usually do 10%, that's kind of the number we do.
Yeah.
But if you don't use that progression, you probably are physically capable. If you right now, if we look at your pace chart based off of what you're supposed to be capable of doing, and I wanted you to go out and run, say, a 7-minute pace for 30 minutes, you're probably physically capable of doing it, but you may not be mentally capable of doing it, right? You may not have the confidence to go out and do it.
Yeah.
And so by starting at like, say, 15 minutes or 10 minutes, whatever we start out, what happens is when you hit that first 15 minutes, you finish it, and you're like, okay, that was kind of tough, but I was able to do it. Well, now you go to week 2 and it's 20 minutes. You're like, well, I know I can do 15. It's just another 5 minutes. So hopefully this is how you're talking to yourself. So you're telling yourself, okay, I knew I could do 15. The first 15 probably feels pretty easy because you've already done it. Now it's the last 5 that are challenging. And then the next week you're like, well, I did 20 minutes last week. So it's going to be tough, I know, but it's only 5 extra minutes.
Yes.
So the first 20 feels easy. And so by the time you progress up to the 30, then your confidence is super built up. You're feeling really good. And then when you drop back down to that 15, that recovery week, you feel like a boss.
Yeah.
Because it feels so much easier. And then your confidence is boosted because you're like, man, I remember when I did this, a week ago or 4 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, and it was so tough. And now it's like no big deal.
Yeah.
So that's what the periodization, the progression does. I think more than it does build your fitness, but it makes you more confident in your abilities to perform?
Yeah, no, I've had to go the other way, where the speed training, just for whatever reason, I didn't hit my pace, and it just kind of snowballed into a bad, training block where I just didn't have my confidence. I think we went to the drawing board and changed it from tempo runs to, I think we started doing like a 2 mile, like a mile fast pace, jog, a mile fast pace, and kind of built my confidence back up, because that next block I hit my times and, all there. But it was, once it snowballs into not hitting your paces, it's just like, oh, I got 20 minutes next week and I didn't hit it. It's just like, oh, you're almost dreading it. But so it can easily, the lack of confidence, or just, that building of the confidence through the reps forward will just really kind of catapult you,
right?
Versus versus kind of going the opposite way if it's just not following it properly, or like from when I did it, it was like freezing outside when we had those freezes, and it just kind of played with my head after that.
So what I like to do, right? So we're talking about events that are months away, right? Mm-hmm. So what I like to do is I think of, because we always have, when we get to a race, when we're getting to a race, we always have one thing that's usually a week or two before that race. And what is that? It's a big week. What do we call that?
Peak week?
Peak week.
Yeah.
Right? Well, technically, based on how we progress with our 4-week block, every month we have a what?
Peak week.
We have a peak week. So for me, every 3 weeks is race week. Technically, for me, right?
Yeah.
It's my hardest set of workouts for that month. It's the longest set of workouts. It's the ones that I'm like dreading the most, right? Because I know it's coming, right? All month long. And so what I'm thinking about is okay, week 3 is coming. Week 3 is going to be tough. I'm going to be doing these progressions. It's probably going to be so much more difficult. So I'll give you an example. All right, perfect example. So I have a workout that I've been doing. And so the first week I'm going to give it to you what the workout is.
All
okay?
right.
I'm going to give you what the workout is. So it's basically 1K on the bike. Okay, 1K on the bike erg. Okay, and you're trying to keep a pace of like 150, 155 for the 1K.
That's
okay,
good.
so you're pushing.
Yeah, it's pushing.
Okay, then it's 520-pound sled push 3 times.
Ooh.
Okay, then it's
so that's like 30 meters.
I'm sorry. It was 490-pound sled push 30 meters. Yes.
Okay.
30 meters. Then it's a 165-pound farmer carry for 60 meters.
And that's use the hex, right?
Hex bar. That's what
okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm using. And then it's 25-pound wall ball, 10 reps 3 times. So it's basically 30 reps, right? So it's like you go, I go. It's like a partner workout, right?
Okay.
So, and then you do that 3 times. So it's 3 rounds of that. Oof. So 1K bike, 30-meter sled push at 490, 60 meter, or 90 meters, I guess, because it's 3 laps. So 90 meters farmer carries at 165, and then 30 25-pound wall balls. And then you immediately go, there's no breaks. You immediately go to the next round, right? So it took about maybe 30 minutes or so. That was the first week. So like doing that workout, it was challenging, but it was like very doable. Like the 10 reps, getting a break, the 10 reps, getting a break.
Yeah.
It was it was tough, but like I did not feel beat up afterwards. I was like, okay, I could probably do that again if I wanted to. Okay. Well, the next week, the progression was we added another 20 pounds to the sled. So it went from 490 to 510.
Okay.
We added another, I think, another 20 pounds to the farmer carry. So now it's 185.
Ooh.
And then we added 5 reps per round on the wall balls.
Oh, so you did.
So instead of doing 10 reps times 3, it was 15 reps times 3.
Oh, okay.
So now we went from 30 reps per round to 45 reps per round. And if you multiply that times 3, so instead of doing 90 wall balls, now we're doing 135 wall balls or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So so that was doable, but it was fatiguing. It was
starting to get spicy.
It was getting spicy, right? And all I could think about in week 2 was
week 3.
What week 3 is going to look like, right? So week 3 was still 1K on the bike, but it was 520 pounds on the sled times 3, right?
Yeah.
30 meters. It was 200-pound farmer carries, and it was 20 25-pound wall balls times 3.
Oof,
so that's 180 wall balls.
Wow.
With a 25-pound ball, plus the weight, plus the farmer carries, plus the bike.
Yeah.
That was a way That workout sucked. Like, my back has been sore. My butt's been sore. My shoulders, my core, my whole body has been like beat the crud up.
Come book your stretch and restore session with me. So just come on, get on that table.
Let me get on the table. Let Coach Carlos work me out.
Well, Mr.
So,
Miyagi.
but there's no way. If I had started with that workout, I don't know if I'd have finished it. That is a high volume with high weight.
I'm just thinking of those 25-pound wall balls. That's
And
brutal.
the goal was ultimately to do all of them unbroken, right? So the first 10, the first week you do 10 reps, 10 reps, 10 reps, right? Well, now I know I made it through the whole workout doing 10 reps. So now I'm going to do 15 reps.
Yeah.
It's only 5 more. You just got to tell yourself that. And I made it through that. So now I got to do 20. I'm going to be honest with you. That 20 reps with that, the first round was not that bad.
Yeah.
But that second and that third round, I wanted to drop that ball so many times, right? And you also got to think, by the time you get to round 2, you're already over 100 wall balls, right?
Yeah.
So, like, you're fatigued and your mind's thinking, I should already be done with this bull crap. So those types of workouts, that kind of volume, right? That kind of intensity, that kind of weight, you can't just jump into that. Maybe you can physically jump into it, but it's not sustainable. But mentally, I think you have to kind of prepare yourself and build your confidence. And that's, I feel like, what that periodization and that progression does. So to prep for a race, I'm prepping for a race. You ask me all the time. You're like, you always seem so like relaxed. How do you put it?
Chill.
Chill.
You literally show up and you're like, just quiet your like the calm before the storm.
But the only reason I'm like that, I mean, obviously I'm nervous.
Yeah.
I'm amped up, whatever.
Yeah.
But the reason I'm like that
Focus.
is because every 3 weeks, I have a race in my mind, right?
Yeah.
I'm prepping for whatever. So that's how I create a training program, is I develop whatever goal I have in mind for a workout, and I set that workout out, and I look at it, and I'm like, dang, I can't do that. How can I get to that? And so I basically go in reverse over the weeks on how long I think, okay, here's where I'm at now. So how many weeks, if I progress, will it take me to get to that particular distance, speed, weight, whatever? And that's how I create training blocks. So when, like, let's say in, November, I want us on Sunday to get to 1,200 meter repeats, 8 times with large volumes of, compromised workouts in the middle of those repetitions.
Yeah.
I'm not going to use that as marketing.
No, I'm just saying, I'm just throwing a workout out, right? Well, I'm not going to throw that. I'm not going to give that to people because it's going to kill somebody.
Yeah.
So what I would do is I say, okay, here's what we're doing now. What would be the progression to get to that workout? And how long is that going to take? And I do the math. I'm like, okay, that's going to take 12 weeks, or it's going to take 16 weeks. It's going to take all year long. Okay, well, that's fine. So what can we do to build up to that throughout those weeks?
Yeah.
And so that's like the intentionality, I feel like, that if you want to get to a certain place, you have to take. So you get to wherever you want to go. You look at the peak, you look at the top, you look at the goal, and then you start working your way backwards to make it manageable.
Yeah.
So I'm just looking at the long game.
That's it.
Just the whole, not just, per month.
Not today.
Yeah.
Not this week, right? But you're looking at 6 months in the future, 6 weeks in the future, 8 weeks in the future, wherever you're wanting to go. And I don't think a lot of people do that. I think a lot of people just get up and they're like, okay, what am I going to do today?
Yeah.
And they may even have a goal. They may say, okay, I'm going to do High Rocks in November, and I'm going to podium. They have no idea what that looks like how to podium, like what's your time got to be?
Yeah.
What are the generic times? What does that mean for each? Like, I need to be 1.5 minutes on the sled push. I need to be running sub 4 minute laps. We don't go into that kind of detail. It ends up being more like, I'm hoping that I get to podium, and I'm going to work really hard from day to day and hope that it plans out, instead of actually sitting down, creating a plan, or getting some help to create a plan, and then take that progression throughout to get to that race day.
No, like our one-on-one meetings. So I've told you goal times before, and your exact words. How are we going to get to that?
Yeah.
How are you going to get that time off? Here's your time now. Here's what you want to get. How are we going to get 5 minutes faster? In the running, you look at the running. Okay, that's going to get you 3 minutes. You look at the sled times. How do you think you can improve on the sled? So you're kind of breaking it down. Exactly. How are we going to get to this point?
Yeah. Well, I think that's the thing you want to be aware of is, I think, like, if I'm coaching, I'm always cautious because you don't want to hurt people's feelings.
No.
You don't
no.
want to like downplay their goals or anything like that, but you have to be realistic and say, okay,
Yeah.
you want to take 5 minutes off? Where's that 5 minutes coming from?
Yeah.
Prayer. No, I'm joking.
Travailing before the Lord. And so if that's how you're going to do it, then, you know, the odds are probably not great. So what is the work you're going to put in? What's the realist? Because I feel like one of the worst things you can do is give yourself a pipe dream goal and not give yourself a way to get there. Because then what tends to happen is you make that goal, you don't get it, and what happens?
Discouraged.
You get discouraged and you give up. You quit. Instead of, okay, here's my goal. I'm going to shoot for this. And each time you go for it, how close do you get to that goal? Are you seeing progression? Are you seeing yourself work toward it? And if you're not, then you need to take a step back and look at why that is. Is the goal too big? Is your volume not big enough? Is your weight training not enough? And in my opinion, I don't think the goals are ever too big. I think it's just probably the plan or the training you're doing doesn't match the ultimate goal that you have.
Yeah. And time.
Yeah.
How long is it going to take to get, like you said, how long is it going to take to get to that point?
Right.
Yeah.
Because volume takes time.
It does. It does. Because, I mean, especially if you're operating off that 10% rule and you're trying not to get injured, it's going to take, you know, however long. You know, so if you do just simple math to go from 10 miles a week to 50 miles a week, well, that's going to take months.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen in 3 weeks. Like a lot of people, they do the math. They're like, okay, so this week I'm going to run 5 miles, then 7, then 9. Oh, I'm going to be at 20 miles and by the end of the month. And that's just a recipe for disaster.
That's why you have so many, when we just talk about running, so many people say running's bad for you.
Yeah.
And it's really, you know, their plan of, you know, I'm sure you've talked to many people, okay, what are you running a week? And they say 14 miles. All right, what's your long run? 13 miles.
Yep.
You know, it's just completely off. The training is not the proper ratios. Like you said,
Right.
10% increase, 20, 30% long run, just, you know, the rules, the golden rules we like to follow.
Right. So what are the golden rules, Lauren?
Golden rules are 80-20.
Okay, what does that mean?
Any particular order?
Oh, yeah, I don't care.
Okay. 80-20. 80% of your effort should be zone 2. Easy. Could go out and do the effort again. 20% should be a threshold effort, meaning you do the workout and you feel gas from the workout. It feels like a tough workout. And then we've got your 10% increase. So you're not increasing more than 10% of your volume, your weight, your total load week by week because you're not looking to get injured. The 20-30 rule for your long runs. Your long efforts, your big efforts, your long runs, and if we're talking about running, should not be more than 20% of your weekly total.
Like your total mileage for the week?
Total mileage, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. Strength and cross training. You're training yourself in different modalities of fitness. You're not just sticking to one lane. You're going to work on the whole kinetic system, the whole chain, and then drills. You got to prep the body. You got to get it ready to move and ready to go. So you got to prioritize doing your drills.
Okay. So why do you think, Carlos, this isn't like, please don't give me
I'm ready.
the BC Fitness definition.
Gotcha.
The Coach Carlos definition.
Yeah, all right, let's hear it.
Why is it important to keep the golden rules golden? The 5 golden rules.
They're kind of, I keep them like non-negotiables for myself.
Okay.
Just because they keep you from, what's the word? Like, I think of like an ellipsis.
Okay.
I think of like, you know, ellipsis, and the more you go off those rules, it seems to it'll put you more on the kind of, here's injury, and here's, you know, you're running, and then the more you follow the rules, you'll stay off of it. You
Okay.
start doing the long runs, it starts putting you, not going to say you're going to get injured, but it will put you on that, you know, probability or the path of,
Yeah.
you know, maybe you want to start looking at numbers. I mean, I'm just, you know, it puts you on a higher percentage of getting injured. You know, all of a sudden you're running that long run, like we just talked about, a 14-mile long run, and your mileage is all your mileage for the week. You are progressing in a sense that maybe you can will yourself to do it, but, you know, are your ligaments, your joints ready for that kind of impact time? So that's, you know, maybe you get away with it a few times, but you know, for us as athletes, coaches, I don't want any of my athletes to be injured.
No.
You know, that it does no one any good. They're not training, you know, I'm not training them. It's trying to stay healthy.
Right.
You know, with all the training we do, the worst thing is getting injured.
Yeah. Because the real progression comes from consistent efforts over an extended period of time. And if you're injured, you can't be consistent.
No.
So I love the way you put it as far as like the percentage, because there is no guarantee that if you don't stick to the rules that you're going to get hurt. Some people, their genetics, the way they're made, they don't get hurt nearly as hard as much as other people do. But then some people, you sneeze and they pull their hamstring.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And so what ends up happening is the more you adhere to the rules, the higher your percentage of success and the lower your percentage of injury and lack of consistency. And so I feel like so many times people get caught up in the vanity runs, or they get caught up in what other people are doing, and maybe they're not following the golden rules and they're doing their own thing, and they're worried about that when they've been given the blueprint for success.
Well, I will, this is probably a month or two back, I had one of my athletes ask you, and I just sat there, I just kind of, closed my eyes. They're like, do you think I should wear knee
brace?
Knee brace while I run, because my knees started hurting. And your exact words, well, how much are you supposed to be running? And I was like, 5 miles. How much did you run? 9.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I don't think you need knee braces to run. I think you just need to follow the plan.
Yeah.
So,
And maybe try stretching a little bit.
Yes.
Try a little foam rolling. I don't know. Maybe book Coach Carlos Stretch and Restore session.
There we go. Now we're
Book it
talking.
online.
That's it.
Coach James also does stretch and restore sessions, and they're pretty good. Just saying. So I think the key, I think the point that we're trying to get home, or at least I'm trying to get home, is simply this: is that you don't always have a race going on.
No.
But you should train like you do.
Yes.
Yes.
And the way you do that, or the way I do that, is by creating micro goals every month. And for me, it's my peak week. It's my biggest workout. It's my hardest workout, or whatever it may be. And that's like my ultimate is I want to make sure that above all things I nail that. And so it does a few things. First off, it keeps my attention immediate on what it is I'm trying to accomplish instead of 6 months because that can be hard to be focused on something that long. But it keeps me on the immediate goal at hand. It helps build my confidence as I'm going through the progression. And then it helps me practice building up to something and then recovering from it. And so I'm constantly working towards something. I accomplish it. I just was successful. Now I'm confident I can do it again. And so over the period of 6 months, if I do that enough, instead of having one thing that I'm trying to be successful in, now I've just been successful. What? If I do 2 hard efforts a week, you count your mileage. So that's that's 3 goals in a week. And let's just say that's all you do. Now what I've just done is instead of being successful once in a race, I've been successful 18 times.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Or that's over a period of 3 months, right? If I do it over a period of 6 months, that's going to be like 18 times 3?
Yeah.
Something like that. So like if I'm successful 50 times, do you think my confidence is going to be high?
Oh, sky high.
It's going to be sky high. And so we always talk about this. Nothing new
On race day.
on race day.
Never.
And so I think sometimes definitely that means don't wear new shoes, don't try new gels. But ultimately, even the paces we're running, even like the overall time we should be so confident that we're going to hit that there's no question in our heads. And we go out and we smash it. And I feel like that's exactly what happens.
I think you say this word, and you said this a while back, and it's stuck in my head for a long time. Be deliberate.
Deliberate, yeah.
Like with the training, being deliberate, like you said, the holding the paces in the training. That is like I don't know, just that word, it just rings. Just being deliberate in the training sessions.
Yeah, I think so. I agree. So, guys, I hope that you take this to heart. I hope you can work it into your weekly training, work it into your monthly training blocks. If you're not already doing something like that, just take some time, get a piece of paper, get a calendar. You can just print out a Google Calendar or something like that and write down a progression. Write down, okay, 6 months from now, 3 months from now, a place you want to go, and start going backwards and see how long is it going to take you to get wherever it's going to be, right? And if you don't know how to do that, get some help. Get a coach, online coach, call one of us, right? Whatever. And help even if it's just like
consultation.
Yeah.
just to get some guidance.
Yeah.
So because sometimes that's all we need. We just need a little bit of guidance. So I think that'll help you get where you want to go. And then use those micro goals. Use those things where, every week I'm rewarding myself with a small goal that I'm hitting.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do that, I feel like not only will your confidence be, at an all-time high, but then when you get to your race, you'll be more relaxed. You'll be more encouraged. And the race, I believe, honestly, you'll be able to approach that race where, you know what, this is my reward. And this is fun. And you're not going to be puking in the freaking, in the bathroom. You're not going to be stressed out. You're not going to be forgetting your stuff and, racing. Did you see in High Rocks, the World Championships of last week? This girl won the World Championships. And when she crossed the finish line, she didn't have her timing chip on.
I think I
think they said it fell off or something.
Girl,
like
I know what that nightmare's like. That's awful.
But how do and the people were like, how did the judges let her go all the way through the race without her timing chip? I was like, that ain't the judge's fault.
Yeah.
That's your fault. If she's raced before.
Yeah, that's not your first rodeo.
You got to know
Oh,
that.
no,
They're watching
she was
so
wearing it
much.
on her wrist.
I think the thing fell off though, is what they said.
Well, I saw one where she would put it on her wrist.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, and so the timing chip wasn't reading it. I don't know if that's the same one because I read.
That might have been another one.
I saw another one like that, and
Why
there.
did she put it on her wrist?
I don't know why.
That's
And they were like,
they always that's one of the first things they say is put it on your ankle. Put it on your
yeah.
ankle.
I can't remember if she changed it or it fell off. She put it on her
Oh,
wrist,
okay.
and then it
Just kept
didn't.
moving.
It didn't
Register
register
when over the
any
mats
of
and
them.
stuff?
So.
I mean, nothing new on race day, people.
Yeah.
Nothing new on race day.
So.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for coming in today. We appreciate you. We really do. If you have the ability to support the show, become a member and help us to continue to raise up the level. We want to thank all of our Patreon members so very much. So we've gotten some new equipment in here, you may have noticed, and that's because of you guys, 100%.
Yay.
So continue to support the show. We really do appreciate it. But you can go to patreon.com/runningwithjames. You can also check us out on YouTube. You can see videos, shoe reviews, all that great stuff. Share the channel, share it all. Let people know how amazing Coach Carlos is. Let them know how awesome Coach Lauren is. And then, if you want to throw me in too, it's okay. I'm not going to be upset. You can 5-star review me if you want. So thanks, guys, for coming in. Please remember, as always, when you change your mind,
Change your life.